Welcome to Edina, a program about the people, places, and activities all in the city of Edina. I'm your host, Lillian McDonald. We bring you this broadcast from Cadillac and their beautifully new renovated facility. And joining us to talk about that and more, President Michael Stanczyk. Welcome to Edina.
Thanks so much.
It's a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day. I'm so happy to be here. I'm here all the time, but I'm very happy that you're here.
Oh, thanks a lot for letting us be in your nice new showroom and service area. We'll talk about all of that. But you've been here in this community a long time. Cadillac is an icon.
Well, thank you. My family moved here from New Orleans in 1973 when my father, Adam, was the dealer, and we've been here since then. And I recently became the dealer principal on February 1st, so I'm very excited.
Now, your father is a part of the business, not really retired. I mean, when you've been here as long as your family has, you don't really let go, do you?
Well, to his credit, he answers his voicemail every day. He's very accessible, and he's probably here 2 to 3 times a week meeting customers and employees and thanking them for being here. So, no, he's still very involved.
Absolutely, and that's important because, you have repeat customers and you're building community here.
We have a lot of repeat customers. We're very blessed with the customer base that we have, and we feel very fortunate to be in Edina.
Now, Michael, you've seen this industry change a lot, but historically, I mean, since 1973, here in Edina, your business has changed a lot. How so?
Well, I would say it has and it hasn't. People are still looking for outstanding values. People are still looking for great service, for people that care. We pride ourselves on our relationships with our employees. The cars have changed dramatically. I mean, starting back 10 years ago, Cadillac introduced their first full-size SUV, the Escalade, which has been very, very popular. Then they came with an Escalade truck. Most recently, we've had crossovers. We never had crossovers before. I mean, for years and years, it was just all cars and sedans and coupes and convertibles, but like the industry, Cadillac has changed as well.
And of course, with all the construction going on around us, you're getting a facelift.
We have been getting a facelift. We're very excited to have almost completed our facelift. It was driven by 2 things. Number one, Cadillac has a facility image program, so they want all the Cadillac dealerships across the country, be it San Diego, Miami, or Edina, Minnesota, to look the same. Plus, it was time to do it. We had not redone our show floor for probably about 15 to 20 years. So we were excited to do it.
So part of this is a little bit of branding, which makes sense.
Right.
And it's also just, again, about making sure that you're on top of business.
Well, absolutely, and some things have changed. The Wi-Fi connections, the computer connections, the coffee bar, those are all things we didn't really have.
Customer comforts.
Customer comforts. We want them to have it. We want them to be very comfortable. Yeah. The other thing that's ironic is that the cars require less maintenance now than they did a couple of years ago. So as opposed to customers coming in 3 or 4 times a year, maybe they only come in 1 or 2 times a year. So,
so while they're here, keep them happy.
Absolutely.
And the service station too. I mean, you want that to be a nice facility, not just for customers who are getting cars taken care of, but for your employees that are working in them.
Well, we do. We want them to have a lot of pride in their environment and where they work. One of the biggest challenges to the remodel is redoing the floor in the back service shop. The building was built originally in '65, and it's a pitted floor, so it's a pretty involved process of grinding down the floor, filling in all the cracks and pits, and putting a new epoxy flooring on with grit that looks great and repels oil, and it's safe. So.
Wow, wonderful. Now you have 62 employees working in essentially 2 facilities, right?
Right, you bring up a good point. We had a body shop here about 20 years ago. It's called Key Collision, which is a standalone facility in Bloomington. So we have 15 employees there. Okay. And the other 47 or so are here.
Okay, wonderful. And it's not just about selling cars, but it's also about giving back to the community. Cadillac is very involved in the community.
Well, we are. My father was involved with Rotary. I became involved with Rotary about 10 years ago. I enjoy it immensely. It's just a great organization. I know Edina knows a lot about Edina Rotary. I get involved with the Thanksgiving basket delivery. That's kind of the thing that I've been doing. We're also involved with the Edina Chamber of Commerce. We also support various charities throughout the Twin Cities. Most recently, we were the presenting sponsor of the National Kidney Foundation Golf Tournament in Bloomington.
And there's a laundry list of folks that benefit from Key Cadillac's contributions. Cancer programs, Kidney Foundation programs.
Right.
And
Well,
others.
we are very blessed to be here, and we feel like it's our obligation to give back to the community. So that's
And it's
right.
important for communities to know that they can rely on businesses, especially in this day and age.
Well, it is. I mean, the fact that we employ 62 employees and their families, I think we're a viable business, and we make a lot of contributions. Not me personally, but our employees do a lot in the community. They're very
absolutely.
involved with the high schools and the schools.
Wonderful. Michael, nice work. Thanks for all you do and all the work that your business brings to Edina's community, and then some. We appreciate it.
Well, we're so happy to be here. We're so proud to be part of Edina. And thank you for bringing in Edina here to Key Cadillac today.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it very
Thank
much.
you.
You're welcome, Lillian. Take care.
There's plenty of four-wheel rides in this showroom, but on two wheels, Officer Jeff Bolks makes sure the Edina streets are safe and moving freely. And here to talk about his job as a motor officer is Officer Bolks himself. Welcome to Edina.
Thank you for having me.
How do you like being on the motorcycle every day?
It has its ups and downs.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Obviously, I don't have the creature comforts of a car, but most of the time it's good.
Now, it's fairly new for the city of Edina, too. There's 3 traffic police officers all
Correct.
told, right?
Correct.
But only one of you, that's you, is on a motorcycle.
That is correct. We have 3 total. I went through the school in 2004, so this is my 8th year on the motorcycle.
Okay, wow. And the city wanted it, again, to move traffic along, right? We've had some big events here.
A lot of them. LPGA, we've had numerous things along Interlochen. We've had different things, but it's a tool. The motorcycle's a tool, and it's not just to ride around and look good, but I can get in and out of traffic situations better. Sometimes we have things going on in the city parks where I can get in on the trails even if they're not paved,
Right.
where a car wouldn't be able to. So
Right.
it can save response times.
So, and that's a big deal. I mean, when
Correct.
there's an emergency, people want you here and now.
Correct.
So you can move in and out of traffic.
Yep.
And you also help traffic move along, whether it's at a big event or day to day, right?
Right.
Where
right.
are you positioned primarily? You're touring the whole city or what?
Citywide, we take a lot of complaints, and we work complaint areas that go to our sergeant, our traffic sergeant, and he will tell us, okay, I got a complaint on Curve Avenue, whatever. We'll work it, and then we'll keep notes and decide whether it's a valid complaint, or we can stay there and work it, or go to another place. But we work citywide, correct?
Good for you. Now, what are you riding? It's a sweet ride.
It is a 2011 Harley-Davidson police version Electra Glide, so it's made for police work only.
Okay, and what's the big difference then? Because it has lights and a siren on it?
Well, yeah, the emergency gear goes from motorcycle to motorcycle, and we own that. We get a different bike almost every year on a lease, but the bike itself, it doesn't have all the creature comforts of, say, an Electra Glide you would go buy at a dealership, but it has a bigger motor, dual anti-lock brakes, a lot of safety equipment. Basically, it's a squad car would be to the car world.
Wow.
The motorcycle is.
And you're fully equipped too, fully in uniform, fully armed. I mean, you're here to protect and serve, whether you're on 2 wheels or in a squad car, right?
Correct. Same dress as any other traffic officer except for the boots and pants, which are specific to the motorcycle.
And of course, you can see a lot when you're on a motorcycle that you might not see in a squad car, right?
Correct.
I mean,
And a lot of people, they see a motorcycle, they'll come from behind me, have all the opportunity in the world to see that I'm a police motorcycle, and they'll do, you name it, right next to me. So they don't expect it.
yeah, they don't. But 1,700 cc is what the engine works out to be. You can catch them in a heartbeat,
Yeah,
right?
it's pretty fast for a big bike
Well,
because they weigh about 900 pounds
wow.
with the gear on them. So
Well, you're fully equipped, and you enjoy the ride too.
days like today, great.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, it is a gorgeous day today. That's a good question, though. What about rain days?
I have rain gear.
Okay.
If it's really bad, I have a black Ford Crown Vic unmarked squad car I use. And I have to use that in the winter,
So
obviously.
you're here year-round, day in, day out, rain or
Yep.
shine. Jeff, thanks so much. Be safe on our streets, and thanks for keeping us moving, too.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Some of our fondest memories are made in the cars we drive or ride in. And here to talk about hot rods is Ron Anderson. Welcome to Edina.
Welcome. Thank you.
You are a retired Edina employee. You worked in public works and handled the traffic detail in there. 6 years ago retired, right?
I retired 6 years ago, and I worked for Edina for 30 years, almost 30 years.
Great.
Yeah.
But your real passion, in addition to your work, of course, is cars.
Yes, I have been involved in cars since I was 15 years old. When one of the first car clubs in the Twin Cities, the Ambulers Car Club, was down the block from me, and I was in there with when I was 12 years old, watching them put together cars.
Wow, and you know, it's interesting because some folks just gravitate to cars. We all just seem to remember our first car.
Yeah.
Getting our license is a sign of freedom, so we have a connection to cars. But you have a connection to hot rods and street rods in particular.
Yes, when I was a kid, we started, building go-karts and doing doodle bugs and things like that. And when we were 15 years old, at the time you could get your driver's license in Minnesota, there was a few of us in the neighborhood that went together and paid $10 for a 51 Chevy, and we worked on it, and we got to know a little about cars. And
away you went.
Yes.
And you actually belong to a hot rod club, right?
Five.
Five clubs?
Yeah.
Okay. How does the organization work?
Well, the mother group is the MSRA. That's the Minnesota Street Rod Association. That's the mother group. And then all the other cars branch off from that. The Cadillac Club, the Oldsmobile Club, the Chevy's Best, the Southern Cruisers, Wanderers, they all branch out from that.
Okay, and you belong to five clubs, and you own 2 cars of your own, right?
Well, I have 4, but two of my classics, I sold my 57 Chevy here just recently, and I have a 62 Chevy pickup truck that had a frame-off restoration, and then I drove today a Plymouth Prowler, which is a 99, and they made about 13,500 of those. So.
What is it about these old car connections? Although you would say that as generations move through life, those old cars, my favorites, are different from the favorites of your children, per se.
The older you get, the different groups of cars involved in. The Model T people are actually almost dead. The Model A people are dying off quickly. The people that fix those cars are probably not many of them around anymore. Even the people that work on carburetors. You don't find
that's right.
Yeah, because now everything's fuel injected and you don't have the carburation. So a lot of those, my friends, are not in the business anymore to fix those.
So your 57 Chevy is interesting to me, but to a 19-year-old, what's the year? What's the classic car for a 19-year-old?
I asked my 29-year-old daughter that. I said, if you could have any car that you could have, what would you want? And she said, an 88 Mustang. I mean, I pretty fell off my chair. An 88 Mustang, there's nothing special about that. But her and her friends had that at St. Louis Park High School. So that's what they want, an 88 Mustang. You couldn't give me one.
And by the way, you even hosted a television show just to show off these sweet rides, right?
For 12 years with Comcast and Time Warner. Was 2 shows a month, so over 200 TV shows. Yeah.
Wow, yeah. So folks really do enjoy seeing, watching, learning.
They do.
Or going to an annual hot rod show, which Minnesota has one of the biggest, right?
The biggest in the country is the Back to the 50s at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds, and that takes place the 3rd weekend in June. The Minnesota Street Rod Association has over 22,000 member numbers out, but as a member passes on or retires or quits, they don't reissue that number. So there's actually almost 15,000 members in the Minnesota Street Rod Association.
Wow. Well, if you could have any car that you wanted today, what would it be?
I've had about 400 cars. I've had everything I've wanted except a GTO.
All right, so that's next on the list,
I've never
right?
had a GTO.
Now, what color?
Well, everything I have is black.
Okay, everybody's got themes and favorites.
Yeah.
And, it's nice to see that the cars, even though they do pass on, the titles and the names and the makes and the models might change, the interest is still there.
It's kind of getting to be a lost art, though. If I have 20 more years into this hobby, I don't know who's behind me to take my place.
Well, it'll probably be a 2009 something.
Yeah.
Ron, thanks so much for joining us on Edina.
Thank
and
you, dear.
Thanks so much for sharing the sweet rides and the sweet dreams.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The city of Edina has a fleet of its own vehicles to take care of, and in charge of all that is the equipment operations foreman, Greg Bretson. You work in public works. Welcome to Edina.
Thank you.
Now, you are not taking care of cars like the ones we have here in this fabulous showroom.
Well, you know, we do take care of some of these types of vehicles because we have some cars that the police department take possession of for various reasons.
Oh.
And we end up with some finer pieces of equipment.
Finer vehicles?
Finer vehicles that become possibly an undercover vehicle or something.
Okay, a little
So
city vehicle
other
car.
uses. So we do see
Yeah.
just about everything in our fleet.
Wow.
But mainly we're like a large construction company. So from the trucks to the front end loaders and you absolutely name it, we take care of
You
it.
take care of it.
We take care of it. We've
So-
got about between 300, 350 pieces of equipment we maintain.
And you're doing that for public works, so we're talking snow plows, mowers.
We're talking all the
tractors.
police fleet, all the squad cars, the complete fire fleet, ambulances, fire trucks, the aerial ladder truck,
Inspection vehicles.
inspection vehicles, which are just basically run-of-the-mill cars,
Mm-hmm.
but used in a different use than the public would normally use their cars. And Public Works, which has got just about every kind of a piece of equipment you can imagine.
Now,
Like
when
I
you're
said,
saying that, of course, just the way, different from how residents use their cars, of course, I take mine to and from work, to and from in Edina, to and from here and there, shopping, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And you, of course, have what, more stops and goes?
a lot of stop and start driving
Okay.
with what we're doing, a lot more than others, a lot of low speed traveling around the city. These are some vehicles that never get out on the highway and get opened up, which causes us some issues once in a while because the car wants to be driven. It wants
Yeah.
to get out on the highway. And
So
be
there
opened
is
up.
something to that
sure.
old saying that you got to get them out on the highway
Sure
every
you do.
now and then.
Sure you do.
Sure.
The squad cars, we have no problem with that because they're out going all the
They
time.
are on the highway.
And,
Same
but,
for fire trucks then.
Fire trucks, totally different because these are trucks that we buy for 20, 25 years and they don't get a lot of miles. But when they fire up and go, they're going wide open. And then it's talk about stop, start, you know, braking on emergency runs and everything. So what we would see out in the public working on public cars in a private shop,
Yeah.
it's totally different. And I did that for a few years before I came to the city. And but the wear and tear and the things and problems that we see with the city fleet just totally different than when you see it out in a private shop.
So this is just about making sure
this is
those
just
engines are
engine-
fine-tuned and well-tuned.
Totally, drivetrains, brakes, suspension work, but a lot of modifications get done to the vehicles too, because when they come in, we buy it for a particular purpose, but then there's a lot of times that we can make it a little better. So in the shop that we have, we can modify things also.
Give it a little extra go, huh?
Well, not that, but make it a more versatile piece of equipment for the city.
Well, now there's effort that you put into the vehicles, but for good reason too. You need them to last a while, right?
We
You're not
do.
constantly swapping them
We
out.
do. If we're going to get the best bang for our buck for the taxpayers, you know, and these are expensive pieces of equipment. You know,
Right.
a dump truck is $190,000,
Right.
and that truck has got to last for at least 12 to 13 years. And it's in a pretty harsh environment, so we really have to stay on top. And it isn't just the engine, the tram, and there's the hydraulic system, and you have all the plows that are
Yeah.
on the truck for the wintertime. So there's a lot more involved in just the same type of truck that they would use out in a
Now
construct-
you have, what'd you say, 300 vehicles about?
Yeah, 300 to
300
350.
vehicles. How many folks are actually doing the work to keep this fleet alive?
There are 7 of us back in equipment operations, myself and 5 technicians on the floor, and then we have
Support
a
staff.
support
Yeah,
staff in
you
the
bet.
office that's handling all the data entry and all the licensing.
Keeping the records and
keeping
licensing.
all the records.
Oh yeah, I thought about that. I forgot about that.
We have
yeah.
to have that.
Yeah, sure you
and,
do.
And then I pretty much handle all the day-to-day planning and make sure that everybody has what they need, and I occasionally get out on the floor when I can and take care of business
And
too.
maybe even get behind the wheel, right?
I have. I've been around for 32 years, and
Yeah.
I've
Going to say, Greg.
you got to be able to do just about everything.
I was going to
so.
say it takes someone who's been around to know how to get around
Yep.
in the business. Greg, thank you so much for your work, for the city of Edina and for the savings, too, to taxpayers with your good work, you and your team.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it.
We work hard
now
at that.
Maybe we should go out and take a spin on one of these new cars.
I would like that.
Now it's your chance to tell us what you think. We went around Edina and asked, if Edina were a car, what kind would it be? I'm going to grab the UPS guy. All right. If the city of Edina were a car or a truck, what kind would it be and why?
Mercedes-Benz, a black one. That's all I see all over the neighborhood.
I'd say it would probably be a Mercedes. Between a Mercedes or a Lexus. Something a little older, a little dignified.
Something fancy like a Mercedes.
Well, I don't drive much, so it's kind of hard to say. A Mercedes. I think it's a well-run city.
Mercedes.
I drive a Prius, so it'd have to be that because it's green, you know.
An SUV because there's a lot of women that drive SUVs in this area.
Probably an SUV.
I'm going with the BMW.
Kind of flashy, but not too flashy. Sporty, fast.
Mercedes, 550. Oh, that's the Beamer? Oh, okay.
The remade Thunderbird that Ford did, like still maintains a little bit of that history, but at the same time, upscale, cute, hip, new.
It would be a BMW 5 Series, but an older one. More established. This is an established neighborhood.
A convertible because we're so awesome.
Probably a Cadillac. One, I think of that because of Key Cadillac, which is in Edina. You're not going to like my answer, though. It's the kind of car that a lot of older folks would drive, and Edina is old money.
Lots of great answers. Thanks so much for watching In Edina. Special thanks to Key Cadillac for letting us bring you this broadcast from their fabulous, newly renovated showroom floor. And to all of our guests and you for watching. I'm your host, Lillian McDonald. Until next time, make it a great day.